Hi, let's go for a ride. Per aspera ad astra, through hardship to the stars. It's such a cliché that the good things in life don't come easy, but often aphorisms have their roots in reality. Something in our human history seems to have made a hardwired connection between tough and good, between overcoming obstacles and satisfaction. Made us keep going even when the saber-toothed tiger was waiting outside the cave, I guess. Mountain biking is no different. Sure, we can pay money for lift access parks and bump down trails all day long, but when I do that, I often enough find myself missing something. This week's episode and the second installment of our Moab series takes us to the trail that is possibly the champion of Per aspera ad astra, Slickrock. I have wanted to ride this trail long before I even considered getting on a mountain bike. With my affinity towards marsh-like desert landscapes, this trail has been speaking to me for quite a while. Plus, it just looks fun. And it's arguably one of the most famous trails out there, but then it's Moab. This claim gets thrown around quite a bit there. Slickrock is, except for its ridiculously steep inclines, not a very technical nor dangerous trail.
It's more technique than anything. And of course it's exhausting, but...
We can, of course, play with fire if we must, but for the most part it's a pretty straightforward affair. Or so it seems.
Line and technique.
It's about 11 miles and claims to be climbing and, since it's a loop, equally descending between 1,000 and 1,500 feet, depending on who we choose to believe.
Yeah.
Easy, right? Yeah, I too have been fooled by those relatively small numbers. But it's 11 miles I certainly won't forget, and that's not just because of the scenery. It's not to be taken lightly, never mind that all of YouTube and everybody who has ridden this thing had told me it's hard. Part of the challenge is that it's a trail originally conceived by dirt bikers, by people on two wheels with engines, playing with inclines and traction. So every foot of climb is absurdly steep, and there is hardly ever the chance to take momentum from a descent to the next hill. After all, motocross is a distinctly different sport than mountain biking.
Okay. Slow and steady.
Motorcycles are still allowed there. I had the good fortune to not come across a single one. I only saw a few tracks. So yeah, good times. There is an inaptly named practice loop, and the only reason I can think of why they call it that is it gives us a chance to bail once we realize how pooped we are after the first few miles. Other than that, it's not different in any way. This may be one of the oddest trails I've ridden, and the landscape is unlike anything I've ever seen. In an endless sea of rolling sandstone hills, the only trail markings are a line of white dots on the ground, a few arrows here and there for extra sharp turns, and a shimmering corridor of wear from riders throughout the years. And while everywhere else trail builders can alter the terrain, here that's not an option. So the trail is what it is, an endless up and down the rounded giant moguls. Its name comes from metal horseshoes of the early settlers slipping on it quite a bit. But to rubber tires, these petrified dunes are sticky like sandpaper. The same goes, mind, for human skin.
Oh my God.
You roll up to a climb and you think there is no way. But then you tackle it anyway and you get out of your saddle in your granny gear and your nose is in front of your front wheel and you keep pedaling and you still have traction. You wait for your rear wheel to slip any minute now. It just doesn't happen.
Okay. Okay. It's ridiculous. The things that are possible.
Which leads to some insanely steep climbs, equally satisfying and exhausting.
Oh my God.
None of it, of course, translates into a camera lens. You'll have to take my word for it.
Okay.
One of the few trails worldwide with their own Wikipedia page, Slickrock is a dream destination not just for mountain bike riders. In fact, the entire area is swarming with combustion engines and there is 4x4s everywhere. And while they, just as us, are strictly confined to their trail, dramatically called Hell's Revenge, will be crossing their huge rubber-smeared tracks a few times.
Bike cycles. Bike cycles.
Technically, bicycles have the right of way. I wouldn't take my chances, though. But honestly, like most of Moab, this too is a pretty cool exercise in coexisting. The whole region is home to some of the most iconic hiking, 4x4, moto and mountain bike trails, as well as rock climbing routes, photography hotspots, campsites, not to mention oil drilling and mining in the middle of it all. And somehow everyone just gets along for the most part. I do try my best not to overuse that word, and living in America doesn't make that easy, but Slickrock is genuinely awe-inspiring. Located within the heavily protected and confusingly named Sand Flats Recreation Area, we are restricted from leaving the trail, but there's a few lookouts over some dramatic exposure here and there. And not only to geology geeks, this trail is gorgeous. With its mix of petrified sand and eroded ancient seabeds, this unique location keeps on delivering not just beauty, but an ongoing, distinct reminder of not only how insignificant we are as individuals, but also how devastating we can be as a species. And yet, look at the millennia-old calcified puddles of mud that appear like they've been bubbling only yesterday, and know, just know, that time is indeed a pretty relative concept. Let's bring plenty of water and some food, be prepared for a serious workout.
4 miles. Lovely.
And we shall be rewarded with one of the more memorable and equally humbling rides one can undertake.
Be nice. They told you how many there are.
Slickrock isn't just a bucket list item. It's also a lesson in humility, both as a rider and human being. per aspera ad astra.
Wow, first time I slipped a tire. It is a little more Colorado. So pretty.
In the next installment of our Moab series, we're gonna take the sandstone topic a little further. Think of it as Slickrock on steroids. Please do like and subscribe, and if you're especially fond of what you see here, consider supporting us on Patreon. The link is in the description. I'll see you next week, and until then, thanks for watching, and pedal hard.